Alright, hope everyone's doing wonderful today. Today what I got in store is something a bit different again. We're working on the Jeep and replacing a whole bunch of things inside of it. So today we got to get pretty much everything that's on the ground into the Jeep today. It's probably going to be a multi-part video, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to want to do, make sure our engine is off and cool. Make sure the fluid isn't hot or anything like that. I want to start and drain the radiator. Then we're going to take off like the fan shroud. We're going to get in there and take off the clutch fan as well. And then we're going to have some room and we're going to start working on it. So stay tuned and let's have some fun with it. Alright, actually the first thing I want to do is remove one of the terminals on the battery. And then the light, you can saw all the light went off, so I'm just going to tuck that right there. So now there's no power going to the vehicle. Now it's safe for us to work on it. Alright, now with my vehicle off and cold, I'm going to take the radiator cap, take off the cap, and just set to the side. I want to drain the radiator. I'm just going to set my cap here. By the end of it, I'm going to have a new radiator. And then we're going to go on the bottom. And if you can see, I got my bucket here. And if you can see right up here is the drain cock. You want to twist it and it's going to start leaking out all of the fluid. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Let's see. This is on camera good? Yeah, I think so. Twist it. It'll start leaking all of the fluid. And definitely catch this stuff because it is kind of nasty. There we go. It should start. Go. It's kind of splattering, not the way that I really want it to, but it'll be okay. So we're gonna let that drain for a while. Alright, looks like our radiator is drained for the most part. I'm sure there's more liquid in there that will get out. The next thing I want to do, I want to take my coolant reservoir and I want to actually take it off. So pull off the little tube, and for me, I want to remove this. I have to push this little white thing in, just like little, and then I need to pull it up. Alright, and I want to remove this, so I'm going to push in, and then pull up. And out it comes, just like that. I'm going to empty this out now. Alright, the next thing I want to do is I want to take off this fan. So I need to get a big wrench, put on that bolt right there, and then take it off. I'm also going to remove my fan shroud. So I got these, you can see these bolts here. I believe there's 4. I got one on this side, one on this side, and I believe some underneath, and I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Now I'm going to remove the radiator hose so I can remove the fan shroud. I took off the 3 bolts that I have on here, and then I'm just going to free up some room, take out the radiator hose, leak out a little bit more coolant, take out the shroud, and then I'll be able to access the fan clutch a little bit better, maybe make my life a little bit easier. Alright, let's go ahead and loosen it up. Slide this down a bit, push it up a bit more, slide it down the hose, even a little bit more, and this should wiggle off. Oh yeah, very good. Alright, so I'm back. I had to rent this fan holding tool, the fan clutch holder. And what I gotta do, I need to get it to hold. Alright, now I'm going to show you to take off a serpentine belt from your vehicle. They're usually the same sort of technology. There's usually like a tensioner that you have to sort of bend to loosen the whole belt, then it kind of comes up easily. This is a 2000 Jeep Wrangler. This is the tensioner down here. I have a tool for it. You can just use a ratchet. You just go ahead, you pop it in there, then you bend it so there's less tension. You can see that it kind of makes the belt a little loose. Then just should be able to slip it off. A little bit easier said than done. There you go. You can release the tension, take out the tool, and then set this to the side, and the belt literally just fell off. Now the belt is off. Very cool. Alrighty, now we have the fan clutch off from down here. We have the belt off. We have this hose removed on the radiator. Next thing I want to do, I want to remove the bigger hose and then the two smaller hoses for this is the coolant. This is like for the automatic transmission. And then there's a couple bolts. Boom, I believe 4, maybe 6 on the sides of the radiator. Looks like maybe I think 6. I think they're 10 millimeter for me. I'm gonna go ahead, ratchet those off, and then pop out the radiator. So bear with me. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove this giant hose at the bottom. Alright, I just popped out the automatic transmission lines, both of them right here, this one, and I threw a bolt just in the bottom of it just to prevent it from leaking out all of the fluid. Make sure you have extra transmission fluid to top it off after, because I did lose a little bit of it, and as you can see there. So just make sure, close them off so it just doesn't keep on dripping out. On to the next thing, let's go ahead, remove the bolts from the radiator and pop out the radiator. Alright, the radiator is now removed. A lot more space to work around in here. Little piece of the foam came. I'm replacing the condenser as well because it's a little bit more worn out. Alright, looking pretty good. On to the next step. Alright, the first thing I'm going to replace is this power steering pump. The way you do that, it's attached by 3 bolts, and you actually have to access them through inside of here. So I don't know if you can even see them. There's like a bolt here, here, and then there's one a little bit lower, and the only way to reach them is actually take your bit and go through the hole here with your ratchet, your bit. So you put it through here, get that one, get this one over here, and then there's one right here. Got 3 of them. We're gonna take those off. I'm gonna actually remove this line as well, and then we'll throw in the new one. Alright, I got my ratchet in there. It's a 13 millimeter. You can have a little breaker bar. Let's just get these going. Boom. There's the first one. Just kind of want to loosen them first. Oh yeah, they are in there, nice and tight. Then let's loosen up the last one, and then we'll go from there. All right. I just slapped down one of these like crow's foot things. It should fit on there real nice. There we go. There we go. And you can see some of the fluid is leaking out, so that's just kind of to be expected. and be prepared for a mess. And then lastly, let's go ahead and grab the last bolt from there. I think it is. Yep. So this bolt should come out, and when the bolt comes out, let me put down the ratchet. It should take the whole unit with it. There we go. And this should just kind of slide out. And if you can see, there is an attached bit right here that we will have to get. So let me grab these little pliers. See if I can pinch this. If I can, I might need some needle nose. Almost. There we go. Give it a little wiggle. There you go. And this should, if it's nice, pop out. If I can. Alright, I got off the old one. I did end up getting off the top hose. Then we're gonna go over here. We're gonna put on a new one pretty much the opposite way that we just got it. Got even some bolts for it. And then here is kind of the instructions, removal. And I highlighted everything for removal in the pink. And then for the yellow is the installation. And then I highlighted in pink the foot-pounds that I have to torque everything down to. So I just gotta make sure I tighten the mountain bolts to 20 foot-pounds. And then tighten the pressure line to 21 foot-pounds. Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and then put in this new one, tighten everything down, fill it up with fluid, and that will be how to replace the power steering pump in a 2000 Jeep Wrangler or similar vehicles. Very cool. All right, first thing I wanna do, put this hose back on it. Hose went on way easier. Then we're gonna use these to finagle that back on it. Let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna have to do all sorts of funky things. Actually, let me take this off, move it up first, and then I'll put it on. Okay. This. Boom, just like that. Actually have it facing a little bit better. Just like that. This, bloop, just like this, and this should go right over there where it just used to sit. Boop. Just like that. The hose is now on there. Next we gotta put this where it used to go. Just like that. Then I'm gonna put in the bolts and we'll go from there. I do have my bolts right here. I'm actually gonna be putting a little bit of this Loctite on there just to kind of get it in there. This isn't the strongest one, this is like the blue one, so it should be able to come off but hold itself good or come off if I ever need to in the future. So I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite on all the bolts. Alright, I got my Loctite. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit, just a little bit on there. Oop, that's a little bit much, but a little bit of blue Loctite. And we're gonna do one at a time. Put this one in first. It seems pretty lined up. It's almost lined up. There we go. Just kind of want to have it as a placeholder in there. Then I'm gonna line up the other ones. Actually, I'm gonna put this one in just a little bit. Alright, got the torque wrench, got it set to 27 Newton meters, which is my correct specs, and then we're going to go ahead and just listen for the click. Here's one, bottom one next. Two, and let's do this top one. Three. There you go, that thing is in there, secure. Last thing I gotta do, take this out and then put the hose back in. Boom, one set. Alright, let's go ahead, take out this hose. This little cover probably screws out, yep. It's in there nice and tight. Alrighty. One thing I'm gonna do real quick is actually gonna replace this little gasket on here. Should come off sort of easily, hopefully, fingers crossed. This tool. Whoop. And it's lost. Oh no, here it is. And I got a tiny little green one. We can just slide it on there without it flying away or anything. That'd be really cool. There we go. Beautiful new green gasket. What we're gonna do, we're gonna hand thread this on first. Line it up. There we go, it's on there. Then we gotta tighten this down to the torque specs. Alright, now I gotta tighten this down to 28 foot-pounds. I got my torque wrench set to that, and let's just go a little bit at a time. And I have this adapter on here. If I can get it to fit on there. Come on now. Not yet. There's the click. Now we have our new power and steer pump installed, ready to fill up and ready to go. Not too bad. Alright, the next thing I'm going to take off is, let's do the water pump. I'm going to be replacing my water pump. So I'm going to take off these 4 bolts right here. This should pop off. Then the water pump, I think, has like 5 bolts that we'll be taking off, and this hose as well needs to come off. And then we got to clean off the gasket. We got to put on the new gasket and then install it and put it down the torque specs and then go from there. So I'm going to take off this part first. Alright, I just loosened them a bit with the tool. I don't think these ones are super long either. And always keep your bolts in an organized pile so you know exactly where they came from. Otherwise it could be a headache. Boom! All the 4 bolts are off, and this should just literally come off. Very cool. Now we have the water pump exposed. Next thing we gotta do, boom, 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 boom. Got a couple bolts here that we gotta take off, and there might be some coolant throughout here that we'll take off as well. All right. I know the angle's not that good, but I couldn't hold the camera and do this, so this is what I'm working at. This. There we go. Now the hose might come off. It should. Boop. There we go. The hose is off, and I'll set this to the side. I'm actually going to be replacing my hoses too, so very nice. And if you're going to be doing any work like on the water pump or anything like that, if you're in there, check your hoses, and if they're getting like crusty or like got some like dry rot, go ahead and replace those as well while you're doing the job anyway. All right, next thing we gotta do, water bolt pumps. Boom, boom, boom. There's a couple of them around. 1, 2, 3. I believe there's 5. And then I'm gonna take them off, and then we'll put on the new one. All right. I'm gonna be back at it with these. Like to break them first. Easy, easy. Nothing too hard. If I can. If I use the breaker bar, have a little bit more leverage. Good, it's going along. Got one more over here. Yep, there's 5 bolts. Got one over here too. I just referenced on my new one. Alright, that should be the last one. That's the very top middle. And this thing, explosion. So if you were curious if there was any radiator fluid in there still, or coolant fluid, the answer is yes. Yes, there was. And I also have to remove over here, see if we can see. Right here, the water hose up here, I have to pinch this, pull it back, and pull it off there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It is way harder to do this stuff with a camera. Okay, let's see, go pinch, move it back, boop, and move back a little bit further, remove, and then this thing, I think I have to take off the idler pulley actually. This to me feels like 14. Pop this on here, and then let's break this off. I'm actually replacing this idler as well. Boom. Idler is off. Let's see. Let's see if that will help. Whew. It is a hot one today. Get off these hoses. on now. Whew. There we go. And it's off. What a thing. Now that the water pump is off, you want to go around with like a razor, scrape off all the gaskets. Be sure not to like groove it or anything. So just go around the edges and scrape everything off. I'm actually going to be using both my hands for this, so I'm going to set up the camera and go from there. Okay, just want to clean off any old gasket. Alright, now it's got a clean mating surface. I scraped off all of the old gasket. Now I'm going to get ready and we're going to put on the new water pump. But first I got to put the new kind of hose on. Where is the pump? Here we go. The pumps. I got to put my new hose on just like that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, now I'm going to put my new hose on. So if you look at this one, the hose is kind of facing back. So I want to have the hose facing the same way. It does look like there is some sort of liquid Teflon already on there, but I'm actually just going to add a little bit as well, just for added measure. Just a dab will do you. Nothing too crazy. Just like, oh man, that fan is blowing the little threads. Literally just a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and wipe off the remainder. Once I get it on there, then we'll tighten it down. So obviously, you want to have this nice and tight. Let's see if I can do one more turn. I'm gonna grab a wrench because we want to have this facing the opposite. Alright, now I'm going to tighten this. See if I can do it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice and tight. Getting good and tight. Okay. And I want it to face a little bit back, just a little bit more. A touch more. If I can even do it. Use all my strength. I think that'll do it. We got it lined up pretty good. I'll get a better view. Just like that. I'm actually going to be replacing the hose on mine as well. So I'm going to go ahead and slip that on before I get it on there. Just maybe make my life a little bit easier. So slip the new hose on. I'll tighten it up. And then we'll go ahead and put on the new water pump. Just for some better access, I loosened this hose, this pump right on, not the pump right there, I guess where, ooh, that's pretty gross in there, where the thermostat is. And I'm taking it off just for room, and I'm going to be replacing this one as well. Gnarly. Now I'm going to take this gasket, and I'm going to place it on the pump the correct way that it should go. Not like this, but like this. And I'm going to take two of the bolts, put them through it, and then we're going to go ahead and install it. And on the bolts, I'm going to put a little bit of the Teflon thread sealant as well. Alright, let's go ahead and do it. And since I'm actually replacing my hoses, I'm actually going to slip this one on real quick as well too. Might be a little cumbersome now, but in the long run, probably easier to put the hoses back on. Alright, I'll slide it in a little bit more and I'll tighten it on up. Let's see. There we go. It's on there. Then next I just want to tighten it up. Real quick as well, I'm going to be putting thread sealant on all of the bolts for the water pump. Just a little bit. So I'm going to be doing this and then installing them all. Stay tuned. Alright, now what I want to do is kind of position this in here. Got the gasket on, got everything on. This hose actually goes under here, so if we can do this, under, we're good. We'll worry about that one later. Finger thread this top one in. Finger thread this one in. Okay, finger thread these. This bottom one, let's finger thread that one. Okay. Alright, it is now in here, but I need to torque everything down. I got my torque wrench set to 23 Newton meters. That's my torque specs right here. 23 Newton meters or 200 inch-pounds. Install the gaskets and water pump, and then tighten to the torque specs. Now, what we're going to do, tighten them down. Do the bottom one first, if I can find it. Click, I'm going to do this one top. This one. Click, click, click. And this one is just spinning. Alright, snug up this one. Nice, let's torque this down. Correct specs. Still the same. And just like that. Click. Alright, they're all done. I actually had to get a new bolt for this and replace it. The bolt that was in here was a little bit too small. Whoever was working on it before used, I guess, what they had around, so I actually had one that I actually had to cut a little bit shorter, and ended up working great. So now the water pump is in here. Spins freely. We got the hoses that we have to reconnect to the radiator once we get it on. And then we got to get that new the pulley wheel on here. All right, I just loosened up this sort of bolt on the tensioner pulley. Just gonna get the rest of it out. And then this should just sort of wiggle off. I might have to use a tool for that. It's just caked on there a bit. Starting to wiggle. There we go. It's off. Ah, dang, one of those things is stuck in there. That'll be something else to get that out. Alright, now I want to remove the thermostat mount and everything. I want to take off this cord, take off that connection. I want to take this little thing right here, squeeze it, move it upwards, shimmy it down the line. Very good. And this has like two bolts, a long one and a short one. I'm gonna zip them off, pull off this part right here, and then take out the thermostat and then go from there. All right. Hoo-yah. There might be some fluid in here, so moving the catch pan. The shorter bolt is now out. And then this whole thing should sort of come off. Like so. Man, that's an old looking gasket right there. Nasty. I'm gonna drop that into the catch pan. And then this, maybe we can take this off without too much problems. Maybe get something in there. Boom. Got it off. I'm replacing the sensor as well. I'm replacing this whole metal part right here. The thermostat as well should pop on out. I'll leave that in there for now. And this hose I'm going to be replacing as well. Give me a minute and we'll put that stuff on. Alright, I took the razor and I scraped it all off. Made a nice clean surface, pretty much metal to metal. And then I'm going to put in the new thermostat, the gasket, and then the bolts as well. And I'm going to attach the hose first. And I'm also going to put in the little temperature sensor as well. So let's do that first. Alright, here is the old one. Pretty gnarly, pretty nasty. And then we're going to make this new one looking real pretty. So I'm just going to hand thread this thing in. We're going to put it in there. I'm going to tighten it down. Alright, just going to tighten it, snug it down, make it nice and tight. Very good. I'm happy with that. One more little oomph. There's a good little oomph. Got the new temperature sensor in there. You can see, there you go, pretty much facing the same way as well. Perfect. And then you want to make sure that the gasket lines up. You're going to take your bolts, put them through, and I am going to put a little bit of liquid Teflon on them. Alrighty, got some actually new bolts as well. Just a little bit of this liquid Teflon. Run it through this one as well. That's a good amount. Nice coverage there. So I'm going to set these down like so. Close this on off. I'm going to take my new water pump. I'm going to put these through just to kind of hold its place for now. And then before anything, I actually want to attach the hoses to it. I am going to put these hoses on first. Might be a little confusing for now, but I'm just going to go ahead and slide the hose on. And then once I get it on there, I'll kind of tighten it the correct direction that's going to be facing. Alright, now I want to put the other hose on, so let's go ahead, slip it on, push it down to that mark right there. And I'm going to have to probably adjust this when it goes on there, because this plugs into the radiator. And I won't tighten this just yet, I just want it on there. And then I want to make sure that I have this other tightener on here just ready, so when I put it on the radiator I don't have to go find it or anything like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and tighten this up. There we go, not going nowhere. And I already have the other end on the smaller heater core one. I have the thermostat, and then the bolts and the gasket are ready. Now let's go ahead and put it inside the vehicle. So the thermostat just sits in there like that. Then we'll make sure we put the gasket, then we'll put the bolts in. Let's go ahead and snug these down. Alright, now I gotta torque these up to 20 foot-pounds. And it's already there, that one. And that's that one. This is on there with the new thermostat installed. The next thing you do, just clip that on there and we're good to go. Alright, time to put the heater hose and attach it to the heater core. Take this, get it in a nice place where it's supposed to be. Take this and give it a nice little push. Now the tricky part is going to be tightening this. Shove it on there and then screw it. That's coming out. I dropped my screwdriver. That probably means it's on there tight enough. Very good. So now we got most of the hoses on there and it's turning out looking pretty nice. Very cool. It's got a nice gasket in there. Alright, I just threw over the old top on my new compressor. It already has the oil inside of it. I put some tape on it just for now, just so nothing falls inside there. I'm going to go ahead and slip inside the vehicle and install it. Alright, update on progress time. Whew, so far I installed the new thermostat, kind of metal part, the new sensor, some new hoses here, a new water pump, a new power steering pump, a new AC compressor. I'm going to do the condenser next, then the radiator, and then I'm going to put back in the alternator, and that should be it. I'm very tired. This is day 2. Alright, now I'm going to replace the condenser. I have 4 bolts, one here on the top, one here on the top, and then there are 2. Let's see if I can get this on camera. Pardon the huge mess. Right up here is another one, and on the other side over here is the 4th one. So there's 4 of them. I'll take them off, and then the condenser should just pop off. I'm probably going to remove these connectors first though, so let's get at it. Alright, and the condenser is loose. Should just... And then we're going to put a little bit of PAG oil in the new one, and then we're going to put it in. Alright, now I got my my condenser here. Oop, that shouldn't come out. Got some PAG oil, a little bit of a measuring kind of cup, and right here is my chart. It says for the condenser, you want to add about 0.75 fluid ounces or 22 milliliters. So we're going to do that. We're going to add almost an ounce of some PAG oil. Make sure it's the correct oil for your compressor. So the smallest measurement on here is 2 ounces. So I'm just going to... That looks about an ounce. And I'm just going to sort of pour it in there. And we're going to go ahead and install it momentarily. Get it nice and inside there. Might as well throw the cap on it. And I'm gonna kind of tilt this. Try to get the oil to flow inside of here. Alright, looking good. Let's go ahead and mount it in the vehicle. Then I'll attach those on there and it'll be nice. Alrighty, just got the new condenser in there. Everything is tightened down. Very nice and secure. Very clean looking. Very good. It's come along. Next thing I think I'm gonna do is the alternator. I'm gonna put in the alternator. Alrighty, progress update. Got the alternator or generator back in there. Tightened it all, torqued down, plugged everything in. So far what I did was new condenser, new water pump, new thermostat mount, and like thermostat inside, new temperature sensor here, new hoses all the way back to the heater core, new power steering, new AC compressor. I'm going to put a new belt on. I'm also going to put in a new radiator, and I think that's about everything I'm doing. Oh, and also new washer fluid reservoir. It's on the ground over here. And then I got to refill all my fluids, and I'll go from there. I am going to be replacing this idler pulley, this one right here, and then also the tensioner as well. Yeah, so stay tuned. Alright, now I'm ready to put in the radiator. You can see I put in these bolts down here, this one, and then on the other side. Was it right here? Just a little bit, just so that the radiator will slip in. You can see these little slips right here. There's one on each side, just so I can put the radiator in the vehicle and it'll be held in place with the weight, and then I can go ahead and tighten them up and put in the other 6, and then we'll move on from there. It'll be really nice though. Alright, the new radiator is in there. All the hoses are hooked up. I might have to remove this one to get the fan shroud on. Everything's hooked up. Got the transmission lines hooked up as well. We're about ready to put the fan on, put the shroud on, and then fill it up and start it up. Alright, finally got in the radiator. The shroud is on, the clutch is on. That clutch is so hard to get on and off there. The belt is on. The coolant overflow tank is there. I just got to fill it up with coolant, and I filled up the power steering already. I got to check my transmission fluid, maybe a little bit leaked out when I changed the radiator. And everything is in here and ready to go. Took quite a while, about probably like 20 hours or something like that so far. Wow, what a project, but it's looking pretty good and I'm pretty happy with it. Well, there we go. Finally, everything is inside and replaced. Got the power back on. You can tell because the light's going. I do like that light. It has like a mercury sensor in it, so when it's tipped upwards it turns on, but when it's down flat it's off. It's kind of cool. Got the hoses. Everything's kind of warmed up. Radiator. The coolant tank's back in. The new washer fluid reservoir. Got to get washer fluid. New power steering pump. New AC compressor down there. New thermostat housing. New thermostat sensor. New hoses again. The water pump is down there as well. And yeah, super fun little project right here. Next thing I want to do is just turn it on and we can see it go. Alive. Very cool. Anyways, this is an interesting type of video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to do, kind of frustrating at points, but totally worth it. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Hope you're all doing healthy and staying safe out there. Have a beautiful, wonderful day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.